wooden table, and the first child would have a plate put in front of them with a spoonful of the gruel or porridge to eat. Everybody else sat and waited until the child finished eating this. The plate was then removed, taken back to the cauldron, and another spoonful put on, and the next child ate the gruel off the same plate. This was performed as a ritual right around all the evacuees.
This is the BBC Home Service. Her Royal Highness, Princess Elizabeth.
Thousands of you in this country have had to leave your homes and be separated from your fathers and mothers. My sister Margaret Rose and I feel so much for you, as we know from experience what it means to be away from those we love most of all.
I was so homesick, terribly homesick. For the time I was there, good 2 years, I didn't see my mother at all. The only communication was through letters. I can remember one of them vividly asking that I should be brought home, and I know I was crying at the time. I was sitting at the dining room table writing it. A tear dropped on the letter, and I circled it. I couldn't even spell the words.
Please let me come home. That ring I made was a tear. I do not think it is safe here. We had a bomb. Please let me come home. Love, from...
One thing that did keep me going was fairly early on. I don't know who told me, but someone told me that the telegraph poles, the crossbars on the top of the telegraph poles, they all face towards London. And I knew that if it really got too bad, I could actually get back to London. I couldn't see any difficulties at all. I would just have walked.
Naturally, I did miss my mum, because I was an only child, and I think I must have shed lots and lots of tears. You know, well, I just missed my mummy. That was all. I just missed my mummy. I picked some daisies, which were put in the post, and I've still got them now. They're 55 years old now. I don't know, whatever my mum must have felt, you know, sort of when she opened this little parcel, and there was these little flowers there, because, well, I don't know. It brings a little lump in my throat.
Oh, Mommy's very lonely, now you are away. Our house is very silent, with no one here at play. The place is very tidy, too tidy, dear, for me. This war has taken you away, my little Evacuee.
That must have expressed my mum's feelings, losing me all those months. First time I've ever heard it. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
Learning to read and write, saying her prayers at night.
I don't know what happened after that, but they said I was rather, I was always kicking the toes out my shoes, and I was stepping into puddles when I shouldn't have been stepping into puddles and things like that. They said I was naughty. I mean, I don't know what sort of naughtiness they meant, I'm sure, but I did miss my mummy and daddy. I think that was it really in a nutshell.
God bless Mommy and Daddy.
They wrote a couple of letters to Mum and Dad, and they said that they were sorry that things weren't working out with the little Evacuee. It wasn't working out with little Heather, and she was being moved on somewhere else.
Well, in those days, I mean, children, you didn't ask questions. I mean, you just did as you were told. Nobody ever explained any reasons why we were moved from one village to the other. There must have been reasons, but nobody ever explained them to us.
I'd volunteered to come down here, and so therefore it was on my own head. And first of all, this life was so very different, and I did get very depressed first of all, but I got over it, and from then on everything was wonderful.
And the sun shone. I can't reason why, but every summer in Cornwall was a golden blaze of sunshine.
polishing the sun, rubbing out the clouds of grey. They must have known just how I like it, everything's coming my way. Who's been seeing all the birds, how they sing around the lay. They must have known just how I like it, everything's coming my way.
It was heaven. Cornwall was heaven. The grammar school was smashing. We've never had it so good. We got on with our studies. We went farming in the summer holidays. We'd work Monday to Saturday, dawn till dusk, and get paid 10 bob a week. And in those days, 10 bob a week was good money.
They're coming out of the Memorial Hall. There I am, that's right, Len Seekins. That's right, there's Sylvia, Ron Manning, yes. There's potato picking here on one of the farms where the boys used to help out in the holidays. Still their school caps on and school socks. I used to take the milk around as well, which was sort of straight from the cow through the muslin, and it was all nice and warm, and into everybody had their own little tin cans with lids that you used to take down. I can remember driving the cows down and delivering the milk to the various places on the way.
Tell me who's been polishing the sun, sweeping all the stormy clouds away. They must have known just how I like it. Every little thing's going to be okay.
Haymaking was a wonderful time. It seemed as though in the evenings, after the men came back from work, they all went off to help the farmers, and the children went along too. And I can remember coming home on the last wagon, on the top of it, horse-drawn, of course, and that was absolutely something. It was wonderful.
Mrs. Watts, I call her Auntie Vi, you know, realised I was a good worker, and I was the best at picking potatoes, so they thought they were onto a good thing here, you know. They had me come to live with them from the castle. So that's how I landed meeting the nicest people that I ever met, you know, nicest and kindest, you know.
They fed us well, they looked after us, they kept us clean and tidy, and I really loved it. And I'm convinced that it's the 4 years that I was with them that turned me out as I am today. It really has given me a basis, which at the time, you must remember, we didn't have. Because we had no mother, father in the army, and no roots.
When you receive unaccompanied children into your home, you will be expected to control and care for them as if they were your own. You will receive 10 shillings and 6pence a week for one child.
The basement was to become our home for whatever length of time we stayed there. It became a horrendous memory, both to myself and my brother. To this day, you could not imagine anyone treating children as this lady did.
We were never allowed to go into the house proper. The only time we went into the house itself was to walk through the passage to go up to our small bedroom.
We washed in the backyard with no soap and under a cold running tap. We were very dirty, scruffy, lousy, horrible. But this was to be the case the whole time we were there.
I must have been dirty. I must have been smelly, you know. And my father was just an ordinary working class man. But whatever we were always spotlessly clean. And I can remember I used to sort of feel humiliated, you know, going to school. And after I went, and my sister, my younger sister, who would then have been about 6 or 7 years old, was left there on her own. I mean, the things that happened to her were really appalling. I mean, she was absolutely neglected. She was starved. She got scabies because she was undernourished.
In school, you were asked if your billets were okay. You would be so frightened, you would say, "Yes, miss, yes, fine." On the one occasion that my brother stood up and said that he didn't have sugar in his tea, which is quite childlike, all hell was let loose. Alan was walloped and chastised, and he was screaming and I was screaming, don't hit him, don't hit him. And it was really quite horrendous. And at that stage I dashed out of the house and I ran with all the gusto I could manage anywhere. Just ran out. And I landed down by the bathing pool, holding the rails that are on the promenade, crying, wondering whether my brother would be alive or dead, because she was really giving him quite a walloping. We left this village under some cloud. My brother had impetigo and I had scabies. We both ended up in splints. Neither one of us could feed ourselves. Splints in our arms. Alan had impetigo sores in all his hair, all around his face, everywhere. And I was covered in scabies from top to bottom.
We never lived together again after we went home from Cornwall because our parents were divorced. And so, really, we lost lots of years, but Cornwall brought us back together again. You know, something drew us back, I suppose because our original home and our original family was all gone. The only thing that really we had, the only roots we had were here in Cornwall.
It's nearly like a club with a number of us here, and you can see how it affected us. There are there are over 7 of us have moved down here in our time and lived down here.
Yeah, absolute bliss this village was to us, I think, as a group. It was absolute bliss.
I was very sad going back to where I was. Didn't want to. Not only that, I was nervous of traffic as well. I was there. I am 13 years of age, and I have to have somebody to hold my hand to see me across an ordinary road. Because living here, we didn't know what traffic was, you know.
When I went back home, they said I was very clingy. I didn't want them to go anywhere. I was afraid of being, sent off somewhere again. I thought they didn't want me. I suppose that's what must have gone through my mind, was that they didn't want me.
We were so far away from war and strife, actually, that you were cocooned there. It was safe. It was lovely. I loved it there. And in fact, my mother used to say, "You'll never be the same again. You're a cross between a Cornish pasty and a Devonshire dumpling." Never really got it out of the heart there. I loved it. Still do.
We were safe, we were fed, we were cosseted. We were lucky. And I'm grateful to Cornwall